Hi everyone, welcome to Khurram Qureshi Podcast. Today we have an honor to have a guest in our podcast, MP Ajax, Jennifer, and she's going to discuss many things about the issues in Ajax and how and what she's going to improve in the town of Ajax. Jennifer, welcome to my podcast.
Thanks for having me. I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you very much. So I would like to start with the introduction about you. So tell our audience about yourself, your family, and your background, please.
So I was born in East York, and I grew up at Victoria Park in Lawrence, just on the North York Scarborough border there, and went to school at University of Toronto Scarborough. So my degree's in environmental science, and then I went on to do graduate research, a PhD in isotope geochemistry. And really my research was looking at how microorganisms change groundwater and what that means for oil and gas remediation, and then later nuclear waste. And somewhere in all that studies, I was able to meet my beautiful husband and have our wonderful family. So I have 2 kids. I'm happy they're both home for the holidays. And looking forward to spending time with them over the next couple of weeks.
That's great. That's great. So it's a very major shift between the PhD of the environmental sciences and all that. That's a degree I never heard before, but it's new to me. But what makes you switch career between your professional, an education that you took versus politics?
Well, after spending 20 years cleaning up oil and gas and working on nuclear waste, you just start to think, can't we have good environmental policy in the first place? And that's something I was very interested in. And that's why I went into municipal politics, because municipalities have the ability to act quickly and pivot. And while I was at the City of Toronto, some of my files were the climate action file, and the ravines and the nature spaces, and of course, public transit. So after working there at the City of Toronto, it was clear that we needed federal levers, federal investment to help municipalities, like our beautiful home here in Ajax. And so I'm working really hard to try to continue those same priorities and really deliver for Ajax.
That would be great. Okay, very nice. So what motivated you to run for the politics in Ajax?
Yeah, well, I had taken my files as far as I could, and I know municipalities have climate action plans. They have plans they're ready for public transit, and they need federal investment. But in addition to that, I think watching the interactions that we were seeing in the United States, it made me sad, and I'm not a sad person. And I just felt like it was time to bring my positive energy, to bring my hope to the next level, to the federal government, and really try to make sure that we can focus on what we can do right now, today, to help people. And I really liked Prime Minister Carney's message that we can give ourselves more than anybody can ever take away from us. And I am very committed to our Buy Canadian policy, for example, that gets people's working right now. And I think we're moving in the right direction. We still have more work to do, but I'm really happy to be part of Mark Carney's team.
That's very good. One of the things, people say, we had such a huge dependency on the U.S. Businesses and the government to support the businesses and piggyback riding on everything. What happens in Canada. How do we separate from it? Not now, but it's a wake-up call for Canadians. So how do we separate ourselves from the USA? Of course, it's a big market. We want it to be a trade partner. It's time that Canada needs to lead for the world, not only focus for North America.
So I think there's 2 main ways that Canada can show leadership right now. And the first is by investing in our own country. And that's why I'm so happy that I am the Parliamentary Secretary for Housing and Infrastructure. We have announced $13 billion for Build Canada Homes. And we are looking to use Canadian lumber, Canadian steel, Canadian skilled trade workers, and modern methods of construction to get building. And that gets people working, that gets jobs going. We're using materials that are being really hard hit by tariffs right now, softwood steel. And trying to find alternate uses for those materials here in our own backyards. The other is infrastructure. And we've just announced $51 billion for infrastructure to build hospitals, colleges, universities, the infrastructure we need to build housing, so sewers and water treatment, invest in recreation and community spaces. So all of that gets people working. But at the same time, we can also be good for the environment by making sure that we're making those investments as green as possible. And of course, on the flip side of that, there are our new nation building projects, the major projects. And, we have what the world needs. We have those resources at our fingertips, and we need to open up new markets besides just the United States for those resources. And that's really how we can showcase Canada's bright light in the world.
You got it. And you said it very right. Another aspect is Canada's good at is building the safest nuclear power plant. And since you have some studied about it, so why don't you put a little spotlight onto that one? Why not be escalate our nuclear power development to modular development, which John Henry said, it's currently in the plans to expedite in some remote regions of regional Durham and beyond. But why don't we start exporting that technology to the masses, to other countries?
Well, Canada has been a leader with CANDU technology and our CANDU reactors that we have, for example, in Bruce, Pickering, and Darlington. And now we have the ability to be the leader in small modular reactors, including the work we're doing at Darlington. So that project has been designated by the Major Projects Office, that is the federal government, as a project of interest that we want to fast track. And those modular reactors, it's new technology, and it will be one of the biggest in the world. But importantly, it's also 18,000 jobs that will be working during construction and thousands ongoing. So we are getting people working right here in our backyard, and we are making showing proof of concept for technologies that we can showcase to the world. And part of why the nuclear energy is such an important resort or important thing for us to showcase globally is that we also have some of the biggest uranium reserves in the world. And so we have the ability to sell the fuel and sell the technology and ensure that, Canada is really prospering from those investments. On the other side of things, so we have the reactors we already have at Pickering, Darlington, and Bruce, and those are being upgraded and expanded. The new ones we're building in small modular reactors, but we're also investing in new technologies. For example, a new center for fusion. And that is really, really exciting because with fusion energy, you're able to take byproducts from those current CANDU reactors. And instead of splitting atoms up, we can bang them together to produce energy. And that's a new exciting technology, very much in proof of concept. But I'm very excited about where that will lead. And again, it's another opportunity for Canada to show their place in this world.
That's really great and awesome. So the current nuclear reactors we have are fission. And the new ones are coming with the fusion technology.
Right.
So this is great.
The fusion is under development. So the SMRs are still fission, but we are developing, we're working hard on technology around fusion.
So we have a hardware and we have a supply chain of the uranium, which is also available in Canada. And with you add the maintenance plan and renewable plans and safety plans and training, we got a perfect model, which is unique to Canada. And the Canada's landscape that we can be able to expedite not only internationally but locally too. One of the things that I want to see in my lifetime is the Yukon territories or the territories for up north, are just not developed in past 150 years since we got a country name as a country. So why don't we think about building those communities as well? Deploy the resources, build the line of communication there, roads there, transportation there. Train is holding the big part of it. City of Toronto, with the Metrolinx situation, what happened. We need to expand to our rural areas. This is another topic of the homelessness we're going to talk about. The reason builders and developers don't want to build on the rural areas because there's no infrastructure. The land is there, but it's not open. It's not hospitable to to build the communities. So why not we start working on that sector too, which ease up not only the load on the major metropolises within the Toronto and Montreal and Calgary areas, but we need to start pushing people up to the north area as you know, the global warming too is coming into effect as well. So those northern region are going to be milder. And that is also going to be safer for us too, because we need to make those places livable with the people too. So we can say we have a population existed on the Northwest as well.
Well, we have a few initiatives underway. And the first thing to always remember is we need to work in partnership. So we need to work in partnership with our northern municipal partners, and we need to work in partnership with our First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people, and make sure that when we are building infrastructure, it's very much under a partnership model. And we have lots of opportunities coming for that. So, for example, on Build Canada Homes, one of the first designated round of projects includes housing in Nunavut. Very much needed, ensuring that it is culturally appropriate, built for the season, built for the weather, built for their unique needs. So that is one of the projects that's underway with Build Canada Homes. Build Canada Homes is also opening up the opportunity for other building across the north, across both Indigenous and rural communities. So we're looking forward to their applications coming in and working with them. And then on the infrastructure side, we are just about to open up the Build Community Strong Fund. And the Build Community Strong Fund does include infrastructure. And in particular, one of the things through the engagement I've done over the last few weeks with communities in the north of Canada has been a great need for water and wastewater infrastructure. And so I'm looking forward to helping them with their applications and making sure that we do invest in the north, but in a partnership way where they are saying what their needs are. They are saying how and where and when they want to expand or grow, and we're working together. On top of that, though, it's very important that we're ensuring that there's the jobs locally that people need. And we do have, for example, in Northern Ontario, the Crawford Nickel Mine has been designated as one of our projects of interest. We know we're making big investments in defense, and a large portion of that is about northern sovereignty and ensuring that we are protecting north of Canada. So there's a lot of important work that's underway, but we always need to make sure that we have that partnership model front and center, and that we remain very committed to that and very committed to our commitments under the Truth and Reconciliation with the Indigenous peoples of Canada.
Very nice to say. I couldn't say that any better. So very good. And look forward for the big changes too. So very happy to know.
Yeah, I mean, there's big projects and they're very important, but it's also so important that we ensure that our infrastructure funding has all different sizes, right? So something for the small municipalities and something for big municipalities.
Oh, very good, very good. So you were also the Deputy Mayor of Toronto as well for a short period of time, but you ran your position very responsibly. So how was the transition running a big city of Toronto Council and now not City Council of Town of Ajax, but represented as an MP? So what difference did you notice between both cities?
Well, firstly, Ajax is awesome, and I am so happy to be here. And everybody has been so warm and so welcoming. And of course, I had many good relations with especially some of the municipal councillors here because of my work with the Association of Municipalities of Ontario and my work with the Federation of Canadian Municipalities. And my work with the Ontario Big City Mayors Caucus. So through that work, I had many great conversations with the local representatives and working to advance shared Durham-Scarborough infrastructure. Because we do, of course, share a boundary. Transit crosses over both. How can we work better around that? And so, I mean, differences are, in the city of Toronto, I was one of 25 councillors. And in the House of Commons, I'm one of, over 300. We have a really big caucus of more than, 160 MPs and hopefully growing by the day. There's a lot of colleagues to build relationships with, to work with, but I'm ready for that challenge to roll up my sleeves and to make sure that I'm finding ways to always promote programs that are good for Ajax, investments that will be good for Ajax, and then working collaboratively with our municipal partners so that they apply to these funds that open up, and really advocating to try to make sure we can secure the funding, bring it home for big transformational projects that Ajax needs.
That's great. So anything that you're planning to do for the town of Ajax, which you would like to disclose?
We have lots of programs that are opening for investment, and one is supportive housing. We know that is the only solution for homelessness, is ensuring that people have a home with those 24/7 wraparound supports that they need. So I'm really hopeful that we can bring some proposals together for supportive housing. Build Canada Homes is now open for applications, so encouraging the municipality to bring in proposals for Build Canada Homes so we can build affordable housing here in Ajax. And we already have a lot of affordable housing under construction. But of course, we know we need to do more in that. And ensuring that we invest in our community recreation centers. And we ensure that when we do retrofits, they are green, and they are good for both people and the environment.
So there was a video I saw of the Prime Minister Carney, visiting the facility which makes the Bring Forward Homes model, modular homes, which was pre-built and then they assemble on the site. How about making the 3D printed homes?
Yeah, so Build Canada Homes is very open in its definition. So we don't just say modular or panelized or 3D printed, but it's very open to say modern methods of construction. And we are looking for any new technologies that can really bring down the cost to build. And the cost to build, there's the projects that we're funding as a government, the affordable housing, the supportive housing. But what's also important is that we are catalyzing a new industry of construction because we are making these initial investments. We are giving some sustainability, some security to builders to know, hey, there'll be a pipeline of this work. So they'll start building for us. So the homes in Nunavut are modular, for example. Some of the projects we're opening up are Canada land sites, 6 federal land sites across the country, really wanting to push modern methods of construction there, Canadian materials, Canadian trades, and trying to do this in a way where we are catalyzing a way of building that brings costs down. Because we need to bring costs down, not just on the affordable housing side, which government funds, but also for all homeowners so that young people can buy that first home. And so we need to bring the cost to build down. We also have programs to remove the GST for first-time home buyers. That's something we're trying to get through when this budget gets passed. And so we need to have it. It's not a silver bullet for housing. It's a series of measures coming together to ensure that we're improving affordability and ensuring the next generation has a place to call home. I love my kids. I don't want them to live at home forever. So we need to ensure, I know lots of parents feel that way, right?
Yes.
We want our kids to have that same success we had. We want our kids to have a home. We want our kids to be able to afford a family. I really am looking forward to grandkids one day. So, but I want them to be in their own home.
Yes.
And so that they can come over and grandma can give them cookies and spoil them and then say goodbye. See ya. I think it's
nice progression of the life too.
Yeah.
If they just stay in the nest forever, then how are we going to build more communities? How are we going to build more the cities and the counties and everything, right? So we need to expand. So, but with such a the second largest country in the world, structure wise, our north is just empty. You drive 20 minutes north, on Salem, Uxbridge and onward, everything is vacant. So we need to start occupying those. So tell us, our audience is about do you have any formative moments or a mentor that shape your political philosophy?
That's a good question. Well, I spoke about how I was drawn to run for politics because I wanted to improve environmental policy. I think early on, serving on municipal council, it really became apparent how much of a need housing is and affordable housing. And so I did serve for some time on the Planning and Housing Committee, and as well, all the housing items that came from council, like it was always very top of mind how very, very important this was. In Scarborough-Rouge Park, there was the death of an 18-year-old international student who was living in an illegal and unsafe multi-tenant home. And I think that was a really, sad moment. And I hadn't been elected yet. I hadn't run for council in 2018. I had run in 2014, lost by like a tiny amount. So then when I was running in 2018, this story was certainly top of mind that we need to do more. We need to make sure homes are safe, regulated. And so I worked really hard with my council colleagues to bring in a regulatory framework for multi-tenant homes. While I was serving in the office of the mayor for those 144 very, very long days, we did a lot of work. Like, it was important that we kept working hard on housing. So while I was in that office, in that capacity, we passed a very ambitious housing plan for the city. 285,000 homes over 10 years, tens of thousands of affordable homes, 18,000 supportive homes, and supportive housing. Again, I spoke to, we're opening that up that early, and that's the real solution for homelessness. So I think I didn't get into politics for housing, but that quickly became a major priority. And that was driven by need and how important that was. We also, the time I was in office, approved multi-tenant homes across the entire city. So that's 4 units. And we also transformed the way we did permits and applications and created a new development and growth review division, so that what was happening was an application would go in, and it would go to transportation for comments, and it would go to water, and then it would go to parks, and it would go to all these different divisions. And then you get all these comments back, and sometimes they didn't even agree with each other. And so then you're going back and forth with the proponent and multiple times. So with the transformation with development and growth, every application had one point of contact who would have a table of experts to get all the things. And it was streamlining the comments to make sure everything could move faster and unstick and move stuff through. So we were speeding up the process that stuff can go through. So that was another thing. So I think my priorities, continue to be environment and infrastructure, which is, my passion. But very quickly, I embraced how important it is to build housing and made that one of my key areas of focus.
That's good. That's good. Very good to know. But who was the mentor? Like, that was the policy for building houses. Was the mentor, or was a person? Like, whatever you.
Well, when I was on council, the person that sat beside me was Anna Bilo.
Okay.
And Anna Bilo, first she showed me how to use all the buttons, and if I didn't know how something was working, she always explained it to me. And Anna is a true champion for affordable housing. So I was very excited when the Prime Minister selected her earlier this year to be the new CEO of Build Canada Homes. And I know she's going to do great work in that regard, and roll up her sleeves and get building housing across all of Canada. So I think I certainly on council always would turn to her for advice on how to help unstick a project. In my riding specifically, we have 84 units of supportive housing built to help people, and hundreds of units of affordable housing under construction. So, now I'm looking to do that here in Ajax, and let's get helping people get the homes they need.
Absolutely. Very good. Thank you. So during your campaign reflections, like in the section of the discussion, what were the key issue the resident of Ajax raised during campaign?
So I think there were 3 priorities identified at the door. The first was affordability. The second is for housing affordability. And the third was community safety. And, certainly I always remember that, top of mind, what did people tell you at the door was important. And I try to ensure my communications that go out to the community in our newsletter every month really reflect that. So on affordability, right out of the gate, the Prime Minister eliminated the carbon tax. It was very divisive, the consumer carbon tax. So that brought down costs. We've also reduced income taxes for middle and lower income families. We have other affordability measures, for example, removing the GST on first-time home buyers, tax relief for PSWs. So there's a bunch of initiatives underway for affordability. I've spoken at depth about housing and, of course, community safety. So we are making progress on several different bills that we've introduced. One on strengthening bail and increasing punishments on some of the most serious crimes, increasing protections for expression of religion and tackling hate crimes. And just recently, some bills about online harms, protecting children, protecting women from some of the egregious things that can happen online, and introducing femicide as recognizing femicide. So that is intimate partner violence, and adding making the punishments more serious for the most violent attacks that happen on women, which is completely unacceptable. So there are some, and strengthening borders. So we have at least 4 major pieces of legislation that we're working on right now to address community safety, and I look forward to us getting those passed and sharing that with residents.
That's great. Let me know when they're done so we can run the podcast in a couple of years.
Sure. Well, hopefully not years. So they are going through committee, and so I'm hopeful we can get all of these royal assent on some of these very soon. There needs to be stronger consequences.
Absolutely.
For actions.
So repeat offenders, the police is doing a good job. I asked, our DRPS police chief, what you are doing. He's doing everything in the power of the police, and we're putting them behind the bars. But the law is so lenient. Even the Mayor Sean Collier, and the original change on Henry, they're both frustrated. What are we gonna do? The federal law is so easy for the criminals to come out after committing the crime. It's just not even funny anymore. It's hurting people's bottom line. People assets like properties are breaking inside happening in Ajax. I never thought it would be possible in Canada. Nonetheless, it's possible in Ajax, but it's happening. Driveaways, people are stealing cars from the driveways. It's just never heard of. So we need to.
So we are increasing sentences for many crimes. So there's more than 80 changes to the criminal code to strengthen sentences, to strengthen bail, make bail much harder to get. But we also need to make sure that we are encouraging the province to invest in the court system and make sure that things are going through the courts in a fast manner, increase capacity for our institutions as well, because we hear stories of people being released because there's overcrowding or cases being thrown out because they haven't gone through the court system in a timely fashion. And our new legislation federally also addresses that as well, and will bring in measures that will speed up courts, because victims of intimate partner violence, they need to have this settled. They need a resolution. And we can't draw these things out. So we're doing a whole array of legislation. I look forward to crossing the finish line on that, sharing you. I'll come back. We can talk about it more. But we also need to make sure that we put some pressure on the province to do more too. It is all levels of government working together to make change.
That's great. And the situation couldn't be ideal for Ajax. So I think after a long while, we have same party, MP and MPP. And Rob Sturgeon, before you, we had a podcast with him too, such a great man. So you can be able to, talk to him on, tell the province side of it, what can be done and all that. So we can expedite things. So with those things, anything from my end, if you need any help, do let us know. As a resident, as a business owner, I can be able to write the letter of request from the resident side or the business side. This is the, issue we're facing. Even the work hub, this place was, vandalized and had an issue. So business owners are worried, in this plaza and residents too. But look forward for some positive changes, Commissioner.
Yeah. So those were, back to your original question, those were the three important things at the door.
Yeah.
Affordability, housing, and community safety.
Got it. Thank you. So, Jennifer, how do you feel stepping into a new elected role, and how do you balance work-life balance?
Oh, well, I don't think I've ever balanced work-life balance. That will always be a work in progress. But I will say, walking into this role and walking into the House of Commons for the first time, it's a little bit overwhelming. You walk into this big chamber, and to know that, you have these amazing residents that have put their trust in you to work hard. And it was interesting because I think the first week or two, everybody was standing up and doing their maiden speech. And I'm not a shy person, but I think I was a little shy to do my first speech because I just felt what an enormous responsibility. And I need to make sure everybody knows how seriously I take this responsibility, right? And so I've always wanted to, I make sure that we're well represented, that I can be that strong voice for Ajax. So you have some flexibility in what your first speech is around. And so then it all of a sudden came to me, it's Ajax's 70th anniversary. So I was able to stand up and speak to the wonderful, beautiful community we have in Ajax, and its natural beauty, its amazing businesses, and that we're strong because of the wonderful people here that are working so hard. So that was my maiden speech, but it did take a deep breath to get up and do it, and kind of rip that Band-Aid off. I was talking in the House. So now the first time's always the most overwhelming, and now I'm of course much more used to it. On the issue of work-life balance, that's interesting. Being in municipal politics, you go home in your own bed every night. And you wake up. Now, your family may never see you because you leave very early in the morning, you get home very late at night. But it's been an adjustment commuting to Ottawa, but I have a good groove now. So I take usually the evening train on Sunday. It's wonderful. I get 4 hours of work. So when I come into the office first thing on Monday morning, I'm ready to go. And then likewise, coming home on Friday evening, a good way to end the week and catch up on emails or reading or things you need to write. And then, of course, on the weekend, we have amazing events that happen in community to attend. So I'm kind of on a groove, and adapted to that now. And it's funny because sometimes the train will pull in and I'll say, no, not yet. I had 10 more minutes of work. Almost done. But it's such an efficient way to work. And I really do enjoy my time on the train. And it was funny because this week we're home. Yeah. And I feel like I'm scrambling because I'm so used to having that, chunk of time at the beginning of the week and the end of the week. So I have to find a way to do it here. But yeah, it's been, I'm very lucky that my daughter's just gone away to school. And so my kids are older. It is, I don't have to feel guilty that I'm not with them because they are older. And when they were younger, I used to travel a lot for work. Okay. And when I was a geoscientist, I did a lot of field work in Alaska, Greenland, Northern Ontario. So I was traveling a lot for work. and they were young. So it was really hard. But now, I do miss my husband, but we talk through the week, but I don't worry about the kids because they're independent. So, so timing wise, this is like the perfect time, for me to dedicate, my energy towards this new role.
Oh, that's very good. Very nice. And I wish you all the best to your kids.
Oh yeah, they're doing great. So, and I have them home for the holidays, which is nice.
That's good.
So we have big plans. We're going to watch Stranger Things, the new season together. I told both the kids, like, do not watch this because you're home for the holidays and we are going to watch it as a family. So we're going to watch the first one on Friday.
That's great. That's great. And people don't realize that, how much work goes behind the scenes for the politicians, and they see only on the screen, just recording women. No, the social life, they just bond it to the community, and everybody, asking them, the timing, and they respectfully have to make the time, appropriate. So let's settle it. There's no work-life balance.
There's no work-life balance, but I also feel like I love what I do. And so it is such a privilege and an honor. And I remember my aunt once asking me, she said, but what do you do for fun?
Mm.
And I just looked at her and I thought, she's like, what do you do for fun? And I'm like, I work. Like, my work is fun. Like, I feel alive. I feel like I'm helping people. I love being in the community and talking to people and hearing their ideas. Like, that is, I went into science because I love ideas and I want to solve problems. I see politics very much the same way. Like, let's talk about things. Let's find those ideas. And let's find a way to push it forward. So I think that's part of why I was very comfortable with this transition. Science is about asking the right questions and trying to find solutions or answers. And in politics, same thing, like asking the right questions and then trying to come up with solutions. So, anyway, I'm very lucky. I don't do anything for fun specifically. I just have fun with what I'm doing. But I do in my house, I kid around. I call it forced fun with the kids. So like Friday is forced fun where we're all going to watch Stranger Things together. And in the winter, I also like to make up winter sports, fake winter sports. So, for example, snowminton, I set up the badminton rack in the snow and we play in the snow. And my other is tobogganing. So you have to try not to spill your drink. And I want to make one more this year. I was thinking of trying like snow bocce with the bocce balls. Because part of the fun is then you got to find the ball in the snow, right? So anyway, that's my big plan for the winter. But again, I'm very lucky with what I do, and I enjoy it very, very much. And I'm just so grateful and so thankful for this opportunity to work for Ajax.
That's great. And you know what? If you love what you do, then you'll never work again in your life.
Right. Exactly.
And that's the mantra I live into by too. And my family say you hard to give us time, but you got to understand, what I'm doing is great. Is besides the business, I do a lot of volunteer work too. So
you give them quality over quantity.
Exactly. Even this podcast is volunteer basis too. So we don't charge any money, from our guests and everything, but it's contribution to the community, make your voice heard to the people, because they never get the chance to sit down with you. So if you want to summarize in an hour, what you do, what you've done, and coming from, where you're going, just watch this podcast. And we're going to publish this on, after the publishing of the podcast, we're also going to put as a blog form too. So people who just like to summarize to read in the blog form too, which politicians and CEOs like it, they can be able to not only watch, but read the summary. So that's a good way to do it.
Good.
So the next question to you, Jennifer, is why civic engagement matters now more than ever?
I think it comes back to ideas. And I had mentioned how I love hearing ideas. And it's important for civic engagement because we need all ideas out there. And we need to find consensus and we need to find a path forward. And, we can't make everybody happy, but we can find consensus where everybody agrees on a path forward, right? It may not be perfect all the time, but it's moving us in the right direction. And I think we're seeing a lot of consensus right now between all level of government, for example, on housing. We all agree we need to build housing. We all agree that we need to have more opportunities for young people and for jobs for youth and home ownership for youth. And so I think having a broader base of people forward and make sure we're not missing anything, making sure that our priorities are right, making sure that we are finding that consensus, that we are investing both in today, but also investing in the future. And we need to have people around the table so that we can identify what is the future we want, and where do we want to be, tomorrow, next year, 10 years out, 50 years out. And so it's so great when people are engaged and share those ideas.
Very good. So related to this question is, would you encourage the local people to come forward and engage in the political activities working with you?
Yeah, so we're just getting started on some things. So in particular, I'm really interested in engaging youth. So in the new year, one of my priorities is to launch a youth council and find opportunities for youth to be engaged. So when I was in municipal politics, I was always finding opportunities to encourage students to depute at committee, come to committee and share your ideas. So I'd like us to find ways where we can get youth in particular at the table. We are creating new opportunities with the trades, with summer jobs. We'll be launching a Climate Youth Corps. I think it's important that as we launch the Climate Youth Corps, for example, we have their ideas around it. And it has to be about skills and about transferable skills that they can bring and carry with them into long-term future employment. But then we also have the opportunity to do things that are fun, right? So in April, Earth Month, hoping that we can do community cleanups and do some tree planting. And I think, they say many hands makes for light work, right? So the more people we have out, the more trees we can plant, the more we can clean and green our environment. But then while we're out there working, we can also have conversations about other things that matter with them. So other things we're looking forward to in the new year, I'd like to do some information sessions, particularly around online harms. And our federal budget did specifically designate some funds for combating seniors fraud. And we hear horrible stories of seniors that are being taken advantage of. And I've heard multiple stories. Even my mother-in-law told me she got a phone call. They were pretending they were my son. And she knew it wasn't her grandson. And she said, "You're not my grandson." And they said, yes, I am. It's, and they gave his name. And so they're really trying to, the tricks are becoming very elaborate. So it's important that we're having conversations so people hear other things that know what's happening. So they might know, well, they changed it. Now I'm getting it as a text, or I'm getting it as a phone call, or I'm getting it as an email. And so it's important that we're sharing prevention tips with each other. And then the other one is on the online harms and ensuring that we're protecting our children online. What are the tips that we can bring forward on that? And it's a whole new world with AI.
It is.
And how do we recognize what's real? So these things are coming at us very fast. And so I'm looking to have some sort of community information session where we can talk about online harms for all different age groups, right? Because everybody's impacted in some different way. Everybody needs to know what to watch for. So so stay tuned on that.
You got it. Count me in, Jennifer, because I don't know if you know this or not, we take the co-op students for all four high schools in Ajax, to Catholic to non-Catholic schools. And Digipix is like a magnet for the new students who are looking for technology and more advanced features. And Digipix does offer that design development and sustainability and cybersecurity kind of landscape of online services. So we are attracting a lot of youth, and I make this year the youth group, Passion for Creation WhatsApp youth group. But I'm going to transition it to like a Google chat because it's more secure and email based. The phone number doesn't get exposed. And I've been talking to Google Chat about it because they say you can be able to bring in only the Google workspace emails as well as Gmail, but not the other one. So I'm working with Google, a $1 trillion company, to change its policy to ease up to have the acceptability to take from Yahoo and other emails too, so we can be able to take the students from all corners. But the student group is 15 to 25, so happy to be mentored in one of your committees and the group sessions and educate them, nurture them, tell them, give them a sense of direction. We can lead as a politician, I'll lead as a businessman. And I would tell them technology is the future, but you better take the interest in the politics too, policy making and helping growth and development of Canada as well in large.
Yeah. And we can share, and Durham Regional Police, hopefully we can bring them in to talk about it as well. But also the youth, some of them are super savvy and they may have tips for us as well. So, and I will say that I'm not enjoying, reels on Instagram or Facebook as much as I used to, because now you watch something and they're like, oh, it's fake. So it's not as enjoyable. Yeah. It's so oh, that's great. And they're like, oh, it's fake. No. So
it just drains you upset. Be telling away.
And then not only that, but then when something is really spectacular, now you're questioning it. Right. So especially, your reels change for what you're watching. Right. So mine used to always be, puppies and kittens and, whatever you're watching recently. But, the wildlife ones, I always get them. And then, it's a deer that comes into a house. And then at first you think it's real. And then you're like, oh, it's not real. It's not as, but there are great, funny, weird videos that happen.
Yes.
And now you can't tell. So there's, our young people are better at that.
Better there. But speaking of that, seniors falling for it. Well, seniors are taking this could be the real. And if they try to amplify in their life or the grandkids, but what happened and momentarily they believe on something is fake and taking it real, putting themselves vulnerable, this could happen to me or my kids and grandkids. So we need to educate them too. So I'm a good educator and motivator in that sex. So if you're already,
we'll chat. We'll keep you in the loop as we work on that.
Okay, thank you. One thing you want people to know about being as an MP, what that would be.
I think people see the nonsense and the not fighting or the disagreements of committee or the disagreements in the House. But I think it's important people know there are a great many things we all agree on. And that I think everybody that's there, really wants the best for our country. And we all want a strong Canada. We all want to showcase that to the world. We just have different ways of wanting to get there. And so I think it's important people know that there are a great many things we all agree on, and there's a great many things we all agree on as Canadians. And I think that's important because, there's always going to be, the fringe. And so it's important that even within that, we find that common ground, and we always try to work towards that, because we are in a trade war with our biggest trading partner, and we want to show to the world how strong we are. And we know we are. And I think everybody agrees that, this is the best country in the world.
It is. To be honest with you, Jennifer, I was in some countries. I came from the poor country too. It is the best country. But now this country needs to take the leadership, because to be honest, U.S. lost its leadership and credibility. So before we have the option, Brazil, another large country, but not strong leadership. Britain, UK, and the European countries not leading it. So Canada has a chance. So I'm telling you, Canada is the next superpower, but we need to understand our power within.
Yeah. And I think, look, in the spring, residents were the ones that were stepping up to buy Canadian, right? And making those consumer changes and embracing how important it is to support Canadian businesses and organizations. So, when the going gets tough, we really do bond and come together. And I think it's important that people always remember that.
Yes. I think I brought us back together stronger than ever.
Yeah.
Okay, so what was the one moment that in the house that you were proud of?
Well, definitely standing up the first time, and definitely getting over my, little bit of stage fright. I don't get enormous stage fright, but I had a little stage fright that day. And being able to wish, Ajax 70th anniversary.
Yeah, that's politely part a good time.
That was a good moment. So I think it's that I'm very, very happy with the role I have with housing and infrastructure.
Yes.
And so, standing behind the Prime Minister when he launched Build Canada Homes, that was an important moment. That is an investment of $13 billion to build housing, to make sure that, those young kids living in mom and dad's basement, they're going to have, we got to get them a home. So that was a big, big step in the right direction. And I'm so excited that now the portal is open and we're taking applications, and it's going to be great to put shovels in the ground.
Okay. So anybody can be able to apply in that portal?
So the portal is open for projects to come forward.
Okay.
And again, it is coming back to those three things. So having Canadian materials, Canadian trades, modern methods of construction. So we are looking to find people with land, shovel-ready projects right now, because we're looking for projects that can get a shovel in the ground within 12 months. So people that want to build, have a look.
Very good. So Jennifer, if you were not in the politics, what would you be doing?
What would I be doing? I think I still have the same interests I've always had, which is bringing people together to solve complex problems. So, when I worked in the nuclear industry, I managed research with Canadian professors across the country, and was a participant in some international collaborations as well around nuclear waste management. And then I also worked at the Canadian Institute for Advanced Research, and I was a research director for some really cool programs. So on quantum computing, quantum materials, humans in the microbiome, personalized medicine, and integrated microbial biodiversity. So now what does all that mean? Okay, so their premise was to bring together groups of people that might not otherwise collaborate. So let's think of humans in the microbiome. So we're actually a giant symbiotic organism. So we have millions of bacteria that live with us, and we don't know what they do. We know they have important roles at digestion. We know they have important roles on skin. And so who do you need to be? If you want to understand the impact of microbes, you can't just use traditional medical scientists, because they typically have studied the, few hundred organisms that can kill us, right? And it's really about killing bad pathogens. But who is really good at looking at that? Soil scientists, because they have very complex microbial communities that they need to evaluate. So when you start to bring those two worlds together, then you're using new analytical methods looking at things differently. So then they also brought into the group anthropologists, because if you want to look at how nutrition or culture changes, the bacteria in your stomach. And so there were cool research ideas that happen when you start to bring these groups together. So one example is they were going back and scraping teeth on old bones. So you can tell the bacteria that were on teeth, and then you can look at how they change, for example, as nutrition or diet changes over time. And how does that impact health? And how does that impact, autoimmune diseases? How does that impact diabetes? All kinds of different things. Anyway, all this to say, I know this is I get very nerdy sometimes. So I'm going down that.
I love it. Yeah, I love it. I figured they'd start like, nerdy series of the, like,
You're bringing out my nerdiness. So, I think if I was not in politics,
yes,
I would want to be working somewhere where you're bringing together strange combinations to solve problems.
Okay.
That is the way you'll be successful. And that's what I loved about science, and the science I did is it wasn't just chemistry or physics or biology. Like, I had to have little bits of both in my work and really interdisciplinary. So I would be doing something like that. I think I'd probably, if I wasn't in politics, probably like something on a think tank where, people could propose problems and we could try to pull people together to look at solutions. So, and that's the best of all worlds. And that's why I love politics, right? Because you're combining ideas and people and, innovation and discovery. And it's kind of a world all the best of the world coming together. And I do see that in politics, just like I saw that in science. So I'd probably be working in something like that. I don't know what that is exactly. I know that's not really a job description, but definitely would want to try to be solving complex problems.
Very good. I think it's a betterment of society and humanity.
Yeah, there you go. You can find my next job from. Yeah, I think that's it. You should look together.
I like you as consultant, not only picking up the brand's money, but also solving the problems. And then when I was the chairperson of the downtown HSBIA, my communication was so good. Town was like, wow, they never had it. So it's about solving problems. That's what the business is. So if Canada becomes the ground of solving problems, Jennifer, I think this is a connection we had. So why don't you put me in charge on several committees that you're trying to do with the youth? Tell us the problem, as a team lead, and I will tell the youth, this is how we're going to resolve it. Let's work on it together, and we'll give you the report quarterly basis and move forward. And whoever wins, give the students credit and the money and the scholarship and all that. But through this, we can connect it to academia, the college and university, and we follow the students until they reach the masters of the PhD. And through this, I will have the selection to the industrial divisions of that students, so the lineup will be ready. So he or she is going to work in a particular sector, but we're going to maximize it. Problem is, as soon as they get on one job, they get stuck to it only for the sector of that job. We need to change that model a bit. And when the company try to expand, they cannot be able to expand unless you're a consultant and you have a freedom to speak. Through my logic, what I'm bringing on the table, I'm the yourself too. I'm an associate engineer in mechanical, but I didn't go full mechanical. I change it to business communication. But I have the knowledge of astrology, to astronomy, to entropy, to biology, chemistry, physics, mathematics, business communication, even human psychology.
Right.
And I'm combining it all, not only adults, but males, females, and children and all that, to how to make them better. And today's youth, I had one co-op student, and he was mildly autistic. He told me after second and third because he was behaving differently. But I'm okay by that. I welcome those students actually. My youngest is autistic. So I told him this is the protocol how you approaching, because he was begging me quite a bit. So that time 2023 AI came in commonly. So I told him to use AI. And then when he started using AI, he's completely vanished. He's in the office. He's not even talking to anyone. I say, sir, what happened? Everything okay? Yeah, I think I found someone. I say, okay. Found a friend. I say, okay. And that friend is listening to me, talking to me. I say, where is it? So, no, that's an AI. You give me the best gift. Thank you. I told my brother, you sit down here, and we counsel them for half an hour. I say, what you're doing is talking to a machine.
Right.
That is not a human friend. Yeah, you got to make the human friend logically with the humans. Don't make the friends of the machine. It's not real. It's artificial. That's what's called AI. So after 2-3 days, he started to understanding. So we have a whole lot of work to do.
Right.
Not only online technology aspect of it and education aspect of it, adaptability and consumption acceptance of it. But not only students, but youth, but also senior students.
Yeah. Well, I will certainly reach out as we're scoping out what to do, because I know I want to bring multiple partners to our community day to share about online harms, and you have some awesome ideas. So we will connect and talk further on that.
Sure. Thank you. So, Jennifer, I never had such an excitement time in a podcast until now. I met not only good-looking politician, but also nerdy too. Nerdy, I'll take it. Yes, that's the word of the day. We would get more video series. Next year is Digibix 20th anniversary.
Okay.
So I'd love to work with you and your committees in the future. So thank you very much for coming in my podcast.
Thank you for having me. It was a lot of fun. And, thank you for what you do to share information. And I'm so excited that you want to help with sharing more information about online harms and how we can keep people safe. So thank you for that.
Thank you. God bless you. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you. I hope you enjoyed this podcast. If you'd like to be the part of it, please contact us at contact@digibixinc.com or call us at 289-275-2147. I would like to say thank you to the venue, the Work Hub, for providing this space voluntarily. So thank you very much for watching and have a wonderful day.